Welcome to the biggest problem in the universe, the show where you decide which problem is bigger so that we can decide which problem is biggest. Welcome, guys. I am your host, Maddox. With me is Dax.
How you doing?
And we have very special guest, former WWE superstar John Morrison, John Hennigan, current star of Lucha Underground, Johnny Mundo.
You said it exactly the same.
Mundo.
You said it exactly the same.
Mundo.
Yeah.
Mundo.
I love this place. I feel at home.
You're working on Lucha Underground.
Yeah, Lucha Underground is a wrestling league that was conceived of by Robert Rodriguez. It's for his network called El Rey.
El Rey, yeah.
You don't have to share every time. It's true.
Do you guys wear masks like Mexican wrestling masks?
It is a Mexican wrestling league, but I'm their token white guy.
Oh.
So I'm wrestling a lot of guys that are wearing masks. There's a lot of guys from AAA in Mexico City that don't even speak English, which is interesting. It's an interesting challenge to put a match together with somebody that doesn't speak your language.
Well, everybody understands the universal language of
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Punch, kick, stomp, headlock.
Loud and clear, buddy.
Although they're have a Corona and Japonesa, the different words they have for hip toss and Hurricane Rana are a little confusing, but you get used to it.
You haven't done any kind of like acrobatics, because sometimes they like climb all over you and you spin around and that sort of.
Oh, that's kind of my wheelhouse.
Yeah?
When I was in WWE, I had a lot of good good matches with Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Guerrero. And when I first started getting into wrestling, watching like those guys when they first hit WCW and Psychosis and Super Crazy and ECW was a big influence on the style that I wanted to portray in the WWE. So now having this chance on Lucha Underground to wrestle those guys and do that style is kind of a dream come true.
Amazing, yeah. So John, and also I want to mention you have your own fitness program, right?
Out of Your Mind Fitness.
Out of Your Mind Fitness.
Absolutely. Think outside of the box. Get out of your mind.
So is it like a 30-day program, like P90? Like is it?
Yeah, in 30 days, can he look like you?
Or your money back. Results may vary. www.ooymfitness.com.
Badass. We're gonna link to it. Yeah,
Cool.
thank you.
Every
Great.
time you say something, I get lost in your dreamy eyes, and I'm just thinking about being in a headlock with the former wrestling champion, man. It's really screwing with me.
We'll go to Lucha Underground later. We're doing some like tackle, drop down, Hurricane Rana stuff.
Well, speaking of champions, let's find out who is going to have the biggest problem in the universe this week. Dax, you want to start us off?
Yeah. My problem is kid prisons.
Grades K through 12 or K.
Sorry, somebody spelled it wrong, I guess, because that is kid prison.
How is that kid prison, Dax?
Look, they say it takes a village to raise a child, right? Why does it take... Thank you. Why does it take an army of horrifically and chronically underpaid and overworked to teach a child how to write in cursive? Can I get those 2 years of my life back, please? I don't even write on paper anymore, let alone in little wiggly spirograph letters. What are we learning in school? Spelling? My phone does that.
Great. Yeah.
In fact, if I spell it wrong, it writes the word faster.
Do they teach you how to use?
I mean, iPhones pretty much make elementary school completely irrelevant.
I
right?
think so. I've got more computing power in my pocket than all of the Apollo missions, even the ones they faked.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a moon landing truther on set. Call security. This is bullshit. I didn't sign up for this. Dax, they teach you how to use gerunds properly.
I don't know what that is, and I went to school.
Like when you add an ing to a verb. It'll help you avoid mistakes like this one.
I got his stats for you.
All right.
Definite articles, indefinite articles. You know, those sort of things you learn in school. Kid prison, as you call it.
Yeah.
What do you have? What's your problem
Look,
with school?
is there anything you learned from school that you still use?
Yes.
Aside from dioramas. I use dioramas all the time. I don't use PowerPoint. If I'm in a business meeting, I only use dioramas. Can I use those dinosaurs,
Yeah, let's
please?
see, let's see.
Let me
Okay.
get these
Okay.
dinosaurs.
Visual aid.
Great.
He might have learned this in school.
Yeah. Like I'll go, ladies and gentlemen of IBM, last quarter your profits were a stegosaurus. This quarter they're going to be a raptor. Thank you, kid prison.
Thank you.
Is kid prison? Is like, are we going all the way from K to 12? Like is it
Like the graphic said.
like the graphic said? I couldn't tell if the graphic was a mistake or not.
Yes, we are.
Some of the things that I learned in school that I would still use are like the type of stuff that I learned in like junior prom, you know? the social aspects of kid prisons.
Like what kind of
How to
social
interact with people, like what cues a girl is giving you non-verbally, you know, on that first date.
We don't know anything about that. Can you demonstrate? Can you tell us about what a clue a girl?
I mean, I know this one from the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Are there others?
I get this
Well,
one.
even that means something. So I'd say like socialization is something that maybe you could take away from kid prisons. Although
Yeah.
if you weren't in your kid prison, you would probably still learn those skills.
Well, I'll tell you what. Kids spend 7,700 hours in school. Throw in homework, you're up at 10,000 hours. That means you're a master at something. You spend 10,000 hours on something, you're a master.
Yeah.
What are we masters at? Baiting? What?
Okay, great. Yeah, good one. Here,
For that
here you go.
masturbating joke.
A little applause for that. And a baby laugh. No, you become a master. First of all, it enriches your life. Isn't that you can make a case for that? Also, I learned how to bullshit my way in school. You can bullshit your way through assignments. I was the master. Here's what I mastered. I mastered cheating my way through term papers. You want 8 pages? Oh, here you go. Here's 8 pages with increased indentations, tinier margins, a little bit cheat here. I found fonts that were 3 pixels bigger, and that cheated me 3 extra lines per page over the course of an entire essay.
That's your defense of school?
Well, I mean, it's what he's made his living on, right? Writing, writing books,
Yeah.
Yeah.
blogging.
Oh, you guys think you're getting 200 pages? Count your words, my friends. Yeah, it never stops. Okay, so okay.
Well, that's my. But let me also add, fuck homework. Right?
Hey, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Come on,
Very-
the only thing that keeps me going as an adult is the memory of summer.
It's still here, right? Although it doesn't mean as much without your kid prison.
John, do you have a real problem for us this week?
Okay, my real problem, my gripe, based on the last 2 weeks of fitness and acting and Hollywood shuffling, is advice givers.
We have unsolicited advice, yeah?
Unsolicited advice.
Okay, yeah.
So, thank you.
Can you
right?
knock his ass out, please?
I want to see if he votes for me first. And then maybe. So this happens to everybody at the gym. And sometimes it happens to me, but more frequently I'm just kind of like a witness of this. Somebody's doing an exercise, maybe they're on a lat pull machine, and somebody else is like,
It's the one that does this, right?
yeah, works those lats out.
I go to
So-
the gym too.
Somebody else might see Dax like doing the lat pull machine and say like, hey bro, like before you do that, you should really retract your shoulders because it's gonna impinge a nerve and it might like lead to some complications down the line. And like, dude, he doesn't care about that. He just wants to get swole and drink a smoothie. It's unsolicited advice. It's kind of like adding a negative spin to the positivity of what it's like to be at the gym and have a good workout. One example. 2, you're on set. And for me, being a pro wrestler that's ventured into this world of acting, very frequently, another actor trying to bond will be like, so like, what kind of acting stuff like have you been doing? Be like, oh, you know, I've been taking acting classes. I go to a coach and stuff. Like Stanislavski, Meisner, like Uta Hagen, like who's your like guru? Who's your mentor? And like honestly, like a lot of times I'm like, hey, like my like style of acting is like I memorize these lines and I say them right and I make it funny. That's the gist, right? Like,
My style of acting is I memorize the lines and I say them right.
well, with the correct like intention and emotions and stuff, but I don't necessarily want to have like a half-hour conversation with someone about Uta Hagen. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be on set. I want to do the scene, and I want to think about like my intention and what I'm doing. I didn't ask for advice or someone's theory about like Meisner or the cup exercise or any of these weird things.
Let me tell you how you can stop getting all this advice.
No, I know what you're saying.
Thanks for the advice. Yeah.
Well, they get in this like zone where somebody's giving you advice you don't want, and no subtle clue will make them stop. Like you can just give them the craziest look, and they will just keep going like a train that's out of control.
You know, I do this move. I do this move where I stand up and I'm like standing there and I start giving them the shut down body language, like, okay, and then I put one foot out, heel forward, and then I just kind of rock back and forth like I'm about to walk away. One of those. If that doesn't do it, at some point I'm like, okay, well, and then I'll reach into I faked phone calls too to get out of.
I've done that as well.
Yeah.
But a true advice giver, like someone that like immediately assumes like the mentor role in like a relationship with someone that he's never met or she's never met, won't be put off by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been.
They're
I've
the
been
type
trapped-
of person that will be like, oh, who's calling? Oh, really? Is it a work call?
Oh my God.
Those type of people specifically are the problem.
It's worse than being cornered by a bad party guest. A conversation you can't get out of, literally in the corner. One thing worse is somebody who's in that situation and they're giving you advice.
Yeah.
Here's some advice.
Right.
Fuck off.
And then the other problem is like a lot of times like if you're at like a gym and you frequently see the same person doing this advice thing, or if you're on set working with somebody, or it's somebody that you work with, you can't say fuck off because you're gonna have to see that person repeatedly.
Yeah.
You have to like.
That's what the gym is like, man.
And
Gotta
it's
see
rough,
these
dude.
dudes around every time.
Yeah,
Real hostile environment.
You're gonna see that bro the next day,
Yeah.
and it's easy to tell him to fuck off if he's giving you advice personally, but to like just stick up for some random gym goer, you can then maybe like attract like another person that's gonna like follow you around and then like ask for advice, and then you've assumed the role of unwanted advice.
Oh my God.
It's just
You're
it's,
like
it
the
like never ends.
You're like the opposite of a guru. You are somebody who just constantly gurus come to you. They're like, I'm gonna fix your life, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, yesterday when I said I think I might be coming down with a cold, well, who the fuck went on a 5-minute rant about what I should do? Like I've never had a cold before in my life.
Yeah. 5-minute rant. Try 2 words. Flu shot. Get it. Get it, you anti-vaxxer. All right, guys.
For a cold flu shot, like
Yeah, it's the same. You know.
No, it isn't.
if I could
Okay.
teleport myself to last week, I'd jump in on this debate.
Let's get to the real biggest problem in the universe this week, huh? How about the Huffington Post, huh? Yeah. Yeah. A smattering. Okay, we got some fans in the audience.
The anti-Maddox. The
Yeah.
Huffington Post.
The Huffington Post, the aggregate kings, the people who steal everything and pay nothing. Ariana Huffington makes $315 million, and she has nothing but people who work for free for her. But that's not my biggest problem with it, right? The Huffington Post has this agenda. They have all these like women empowerment articles all the time and talking about how bad it is to objectify and sexualize women, right? But and in fact, they criticized an ad by Alexander Wang. Have you guys seen this ad? This is what they said. They said about this ad. They said it was tired. Yeah, they said it was tired and sexist. That's what they called this ad. And yet, the Huffington Post has articles like these: Jessica Biel rocks a bikini in Hawaii. Oh, newsworthy. Great. Thanks for the photo. Sofia Vergara poses in bikini bottoms on the cover of Shape magazine. Thank you, Huffington Post. Didn't know that. Olivia Wilde goes braless in racy black suit for Rush premiere. And by the way, this goes on. They have like 30 different pictures of her, like barely cleavage, very cleavagey. Let's go on here. We have Katy Perry ditches her underwear on the Area Awards red carpet. Wow.
So part of the problem is they're hypocrites.
Oh, huge
everything they do,
hypocrites.
they're huge hypocrites.
Oh, it goes on, buddy. Listen to this one. Katy Perry's see-through skirts. Singer flashes her underwear in sheer outfit. All right.
Photos.
Yeah, and this is just article after article after
And
article.
it's one of those things where you probably have to click next every time to see the next page. So
'Cause they want those
get
ad
those
views.
clicks up. And there's a pop-up.
You've heard of these, apparently.
I think you've seen this article.
Yeah. Let's see. We got more articles. It never ends with this. Katy Perry stuns in revealing swimsuit on GQ cover. Great. Again, great article, Huffington Post. Way to not objectify or sexualize. Next one, we have Katy Perry channels Lolita in sexy bedroom Twitter pic. An article so urgent that they made this video to go along with it. This is an actual news segment.
Charismatic World Tour posted on Twitter a suggestive selfie. She appears in a cleavage-bearing black lace lingerie while lounging in what appears to be a bed and giving a sultry stare.
What the fuck was that?
That was a Huffington Post news segment.
Would you say that there's any positivity to the extra traffic that like the Katy Perry bikini pics get to the Huffington Post for their newsworthy articles?
Not for the newsworthy articles so much as their bank
Softball.
account, maybe. Yeah, it's just a cash grab. So that message is very loud and clear, which is hypocrisy. In fact, you can even search for, they have tagged specific body parts of Katy Perry for articles specifically about her boobs, her butt, and I think they called her chest, bras, and boobs are all separate things that you can search for.
If I was
with
doing an
tags.
article, it would be like delts glutes, and intercostals. Let me tell you, she can work on some of those things.
Anyway, yeah, that's my problem, the Huffington Post. And they have created this entire, they've coined a word. There's a word coined specifically for the Huffington Post called Prolancer. Have you heard of this? Or Permalancer, rather.
Permalancer.
This is from Forbes. They said they clearly expected you to work full-time, but they didn't want to write it down. That's an anonymous Permalancer working for Huffington Post and AOL. They pay these guys nothing, but they make them work about 20 hours a minimum per week, so they can't freelance for anyone else, but they also don't pay them.
I'm very familiar with that type of situation from WWE. When you're working as a Permalancer, it sounds like, or independent contractor, the Huffington Post, I'm assuming, is not required to provide pension or health insurance for the Permalancers.
They don't.
And it's probably so competitive for the Permalancers that they don't really have any other options. So they're stuck writing about Katy Perry's boobs for not that much money.
That was my problem. The Huffington Post is my problem, guys. So let's go out and take our phones and tablets and smartphones, everything out to vote on these problems to figure out which one's hot shit and which one's bullshit, and then we'll see the results in real time. All right, the voting has completed. Let's figure out what is the biggest problem in the universe this week. Come on, baby.
Yes!
Bullshit!
Yes! Thank you.
Bullshit!
I feel like I'm among my people.
This is okay. We gotta redo this episode.
What was that?
Mundo.
I love this show. I'll come back every week.
Congratulations.
It's a great being on the show. It's even better winning the show. Thank you to the
You didn't win.
the John Tourage down there.
The
Johnny
John-
Mundo, the John Tourage. Much appreciated at the Mundo chicks.
All right. Well, we're gonna do a recount because this is.
Is that a thing? You can't do a
-6. We're doing a recount. I'm going.
John, could you give Maddox some unsolicited advice on how to bring in a better problem?
Yeah. It was a great problem. I thought.
First of all, what was the problem? I forget.
Tip number 1.
Oh, the Huffington Post.
Huffington
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah. Other than them aggregating other people's content, not paying their writers, and
You gotta
objectifying.
consolidate all that to one thing. I'm just saying, like, I mean, you do this, but I've like thought about it quite a bit too, like this YouTube, this internet stuff.
Yeah.
So let me just tell you, you need to see. It's just corroborating the fact that unsolicited advice is so annoying.
Anyway, this episode was horseshit. I'm sorry we have failed you. Perhaps in a future episode we will produce a problem that is worthy of your votes and time. Apparently it is not this episode. So until next time, I'm Maddox, this is Dax, and John, thank you for coming. This is the biggest problem in the universe. The highest amount of audience retention for a YouTube comedy video is 3 minutes and 25 seconds.